welcome. My name is Carolina Hernandez. I'm currently a student at the University of North Texas in Denton. I'm going for my bachelor's in arts and sciences in applied technology and performance improvement. I am taking a course that requires us to choose a topic that we wanted to discuss, and I actually chose to talk about how to hold productive meetings. First off, I'll be using this PowerPoint presentation, and I'll also be using my laptop to record, so I do apologize if I keep on going back and forth. And I think that this topic is really important to pretty much anyone who is going to attend a meeting, whether it's an upcoming leader, the person attending, or the person facilitating the meeting, or if it's someone actually just sitting there attending the meeting. It's important for everyone to keep these golden rules in mind to have a productive, efficient meeting. Are you lonely, tired of working on your own? Hold a meeting, the practical alternative to work. Don't we hear some of these things sometimes, or sometimes we feel like our bosses are actually using or going with this because we're like, why was I even at that meeting? Did I really need to be there? I actually found this quote: the least productive people are usually the ones holding or most in favor of holding those meetings, by Thomas Sowell. Or you also hold, is there a doctor in the house? Because I am so sick of meetings. How can we change this? Unfortunately, we hear this type of negative reaction to meetings all the time. And sometimes it's even well-deserved. But you know what? Let's start saving the reputation of these meetings everywhere and start holding productive and useful meetings that actually serve a purpose. Which goes into my next rule, or my first rule, golden rule number 1. You want to have a purpose. Productive working session or social gathering? Which one are you having? I'm thinking if it's company time, you might be holding a working session if you want to keep your job. That's just my opinion. But we don't want to have these social gatherings on work time. And we want to have efficient, clear goals. And why are we having this meeting? We want to have a purpose. So some key reasons that you can remember to have a meeting is there's decisions to be made, issues that need to be discussed for a solution, or items that can't be handled effectively outside of a meeting. Sometimes you need to think about, is it an email I could have just, shoot to everybody and that would be sufficient? I actually found this e-card that says, this 2-hour meeting was almost as productive as a single well-written email. Do we need to have a meeting? Don't just have a meeting because it's Wednesday morning. And you know what? Wednesday mornings we have meetings. Let's have a meeting. No. If it's Monday and you still don't have an agenda or you still don't have any material for an agenda, you know what? Go ahead and cancel it. Just because it's Wednesday morning doesn't mean we need to have that meeting. You might just need to shoot that email. Or if you have a meeting that's scheduled for an hour long and you only have probably about 20 to 30 minutes worth of presentation or of topics that you need to discuss, cut that meeting short. There are plenty of other things that people could be doing, trust me. Anywhere you go, there's always things that could be done. And those are probably going to benefit the company a whole lot better than wasting time holding a meeting that probably wasn't necessary. And you want to make every meeting matter. Only invite those that need to be there. So like I said before, did I really need to be there at that meeting? I don't think so. I was just sitting back and not doing anything. I actually work at a physician's office, so I'll probably be using a lot of these references. But for example, if I had a front office staff discussion that I need to have and I invite the clinical team, there's no reason for that. They're going to be sitting there twiddling their thumbs, wondering what they're doing here because we're talking about front desk items that the clinical staff probably isn't aware of. Now, if it's a workflow issue and we want to have clear communication, whether how the front and the back end is talking or how their working is, then we might want to invite both parties. But if it's just strictly front desk or strictly clinical, just invite those certain people. We don't need everyone wasting time. Golden rule number 2, you want to prepare. This is actually one of my favorite rules. Prepare prepare and prepare. I don't know how many times I can say that. I myself like to prepare, I'd say probably a couple of days in advance, probably the week before. But some people, hey, they like to prepare on that same day, and if that's how you like it, go for it. I just want to make sure that you have enough time to prepare and get everything ready before that day. You want to make sure that you have all your handouts, and I've seen plenty of times where the meeting time was taking up because someone didn't have enough handouts, the printer stopped working, whatever it may be. That's wasteful time. We want to make sure that we keep everyone start on time and end on time, which we'll discuss in a later slide. So on the day prior, we want to make sure that we email or mail key information. I don't know who mails anymore, but I just included that just in case. But for example, I have an executive meeting that we have monthly. My administrator, she actually emails us the reports, I'd say about a week in advance. And that allows the physician and myself to go through those financial reports and highlight or circle something that might be important or relevant and that we want to discuss during that meeting. We don't want to sit at the meeting and just go through all those reports, wasting that time. My physician has patients to see, I have things to do. We don't want to sit there and use that time looking through those reports. So if you can go ahead and give those reports out to everybody or the agenda so that they're prepared for it, go ahead. Do that. It will definitely save time on meeting day. And you also want to have your handouts ready before the meeting. So if you're going to print them out, like there are certain things that I have to print out, have those packets ready. So many times, like I've said, I've seen it all. I've attended a meeting where the hardware wasn't working or their computer wasn't working and they had to get the IT guy to come over and it took forever. And so sometimes we just had to continue through the meeting without those handouts. So you want to have those handouts ready ahead of time. And you also, as the person leading the meeting, you want to build your knowledge base prior to the meeting. For example, I'm not going to be up here presenting to you how to hold a productive meeting without having my knowledge and ready to, answer all your questions and to help prepare this information to you. I want to have everything built up in here so I'm ready to go. On the day of the meeting, you also have to prepare on that day too. You want to, like I said, go back to ensuring you have enough handouts. What if someone who wasn't on your list to be there shows up? You want to have that extra handout for them available and ready. And as we talked about earlier, you want to arrive early to set up meeting equipment depending on how you present. So, for example, me, I'm using this TV to present the PowerPoint. I want to make sure that I'm set up ahead of time so that everything is working properly and I'm not just sitting here and you watching me connecting it to the TV and it's not working. And if you have to call an IT guy, I don't know about you, but in our department, sometimes it takes a couple of days. So I wouldn't want to be sitting at a meeting a couple of days later and still waiting to see the presentation. I would hope that you wouldn't stay there a couple of days, but who knows. And my last thing is you want to take a breath. You run around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to make sure that you have everything in order. Wouldn't it be nice to be ready and just actually greet those that come in, get to know them a little bit better? That would be amazing. You're able to relax, take a breath, gather your thoughts so that you're ready to present. Golden rule number 3, you want to have an agenda. Yoga Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you might end up someplace else. Comparatively to a meeting without an agenda will not offer clear objectives to those that attend. So you want to create your roadmaps or you might get lost. We want to have a strong agenda that sets the tone so we know what we need to hit and what we need to talk about. And you actually want to follow it. That's a pretty important one. And you want to limit the amount of items that you have. And that also goes into your time management. So you want to have 20 if you have 20 topics and you only have a certain amount of time, you probably might not want to do 20 topics because then you might only be able to go through each one a minute. And that's not going to be enough time to discuss that in a meeting. So limit the amount of things that you have on that agenda. And you also want to allow enough time for additional items. Now, as much as we try to prepare, as golden rule number 1 said, I know it's happened to me all the time where I ask someone, hey, did you want to prepare something, or did you want to present this on this day? Are you going to be doing it? And they're like, no, I don't have anything to present. And then that day they're like, hey, by the way, I need to present this too if you have a minute. If we have a tight agenda, we might not be able to get to that. But you want to allow enough time for that kind of thing. So, and for also for questions, there might be something that we actually need to discuss a little bit further, and it ended up taking more time. And if you do allow enough time for additional items and the meeting just is so smoothly that you didn't have to use any of that additional time, you know what? You're done. Meeting dismissed early. Good for you. Don't worry about that. I actually have a PDF download that I'll have available on the link for you that I got from mindtools.com. I love that website. Go to that website, explore it. It has a lot of great resources for you. But you can really find an agenda template anywhere. You can go to Microsoft Word and they'll have business templates, agendas for you. But this one that I found on mindtools.com, it kind of gives you the key tools that you need, and if you don't even know how to fill it out and you need instructions on how to do so, MindTools offers that for you as well on mindtools.com/rs/meetings. So it gives you a space for the date, the time, the duration of the meeting, the place, and the meeting purpose. And you can hand these out or email these to people ahead of time so they kind of know what to expect. And if there's any questions or something that they think of that they might want to share during the meeting, they can definitely do so. Why? Because you even allowed them to be prepared. So as a team, if you're prepared, everyone's prepared, right? We hope so. Golden rule number 4, time management. You have to own your meeting. Take charge and keep your meeting moving forward. Good meetings are products of good leadership, and you want to make it clear that you intend to keep the discussion timely, useful, and relevant. So you want to start on time and end on time. If it's going to start at 8:30 and end at 9:30, you need to start at 8:30 and end at 9:30. And you don't want to restart due to late arrivals. It's really unfair to those that take an extra 30 minutes to get there, or those who lose their sleep because they're trying to make sure they get to the meeting on time. And then it turns out someone arrives late and the instructor goes over everything we already discussed. If I would have known that, I would have showed up 30 minutes late and still have the same benefits as a person who arrived 30 minutes early. So if someone comes in late, you know what? Just say, thank you for getting here safely. I'm glad you made it. If you have any questions about the first few slides or anything in your handouts, please get with me afterwards and we can discuss about it. Or if you as an instructor don't have time to discuss after the meeting, just say, hey, you know what, shoot me an email or give me a call if you have any questions about any of the topics that we discussed today. And you want to time limit the topics. You want to respect others' time. It's really important. Just because you have the whole day to be there and help others doesn't mean that everyone else does too. I know plenty of times some people have scheduled maybe another meeting like at 10 o'clock and the meeting was supposed to be over at 9:30 and they were supposed to leave at 9:40, but it's now 9:50 and we're still at the meeting. That might be a little troublesome for them and it might get them in trouble. So respect others' times. And one more thing, if you get geared off your agenda or you start talking about something maybe longer than you thought, you can just say, interesting. Although I don't think we're advancing our goals here. If we could, let's return to the agenda. If you want to write down your thoughts, and let's review after. That's also a great idea for you. Golden rule number 5, discuss and decide. It's crucial to get everyone's honest input. We want to make sure that everyone is heard and you get a solution as a group. This is a team. We want to get everyone's input. So you want to encourage others to participate. Like we mentioned before, if you're going to invite certain people, they're probably crucial and they need to be there. If they're not speaking up, you might want to figure out if they're supposed to be there or not, because we want to hear everyone's vital input. If you invited them to the meeting, I would hope that you made sure that they needed to be there. So actually an idea that you can do is if you see the room and you see certain people not really talking or participating, you could just easily say, you know what, hey Jennifer, what do you think about this? What do you think about this topic? Give me your thoughts. And I will definitely encourage someone to start participating. Sometimes they might be too shy to even raise up their hand. Just kind of help them out, give them a nudge by getting their opinion and say, hey, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? And it's okay to delay a decision or a topic. I know that we have that clear-cut agenda and you want to get through each one, but what if there's one that you just cannot wrap your head around and we can't get a solution? You know what, let's go ahead and delay it. We can say, hey everyone, we're just going to push this one to the next meeting. If you want to gather your thoughts on that until then, or you want to brainstorm about it, please do so. That way at the next meeting we can probably figure this out or get through it a whole lot quicker. And you want to avoid wearing your opinion on your sleeve. It's easy for you to stifle a discussion if everyone assumes they know what the outcome is, and it's already made. We don't want to do that. We don't want to prohibit others from participating or others from just agreeing with you just because you're the boss. And you don't want to dismiss any ideas immediately, even if they're terrible. I know that's horrible to say, but if you personally think, wow, that was horrible, don't say that out loud. That's going to prohibit others from also participating and giving their ideas, because now at this point they're nervous and scared that you're going to say the same thing about their idea to them. And you know what, sometimes you want to hear that terrible idea out loud, and it might even help that same person, you know what, never mind, I think we should change it this way, and a great idea will appear. Or sometimes you'll have someone else say, you know what, I love that idea, but how about if we do it this way? Then you're able to change it up to how you need to, and as a team you're able to create a better, even greater, amazing idea. Golden rule number 6, you want to have an action plan and follow up. You always want to do a mini recap, after the meeting. Don't you hate yourself when you're out of a meeting, you're like, what was I supposed to do again? Some people just like to hear it plain and simple. So if I were you, I would just go over the action plan and let them know how you're going to follow up. This is going to definitely hold people accountable. And that's the part that I love. You want to follow up to see how they're doing. So the action plan is that you're going to be doing this, so-and-so has participated to do this, and I'll be following up with you in about 2 weeks to see how you're doing. And that's going to let them know, okay, I'm responsible for this, and I have 2 weeks to get this done because my boss or my leader is going to ask me about it in 2 weeks. And also, by keeping track and progress of it, you're able to help a group keep the group updated, and you're also able to help yourself by making other meetings more efficiently. So if you're able to get something done at this meeting and you had it on next meeting's agenda, you can scratch that off because we have already done this. We already discussed it. And it really helps others be updated on what's going on. Plenty of times I've seen some leaders that I've had previously not keep me updated about what we decided on a meeting. And I actually had to ask myself and say, hey, so how did we end up on this? And a few times the response was, well, we kind of forgot about that, sorry. I wouldn't want to hear that if I were you. I think that whole meeting was a waste of time. So having an action plan and following up is the key to the meeting. Without that, you can easily go back to your desk and forget that any of this ever happened, which would be a waste of time. So by having these things, you can create a productive and efficient meeting that will help serve purpose and not waste anyone's time. I hope that all these golden rules you're able to take back to your office setting or your company setting, and you're able to really enforce those and help your meetings get that productiveness that they need. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Carolina Hernandez, and thank you so much for watching.